Commander Sarah Chen adjusted her flight suit and looked out at the endless black of space. Her fighter ship, the Lightning Strike, moved silently through the outer edge of human territory. The stars looked the same as always, cold, distant, and beautiful. Sarah had been flying these patrol routes for 3 years now, and she never got tired of the view. "Control, this is Hawk," she spoke into her headset, using her pilot call sign. "All systems normal, no contacts on scanner." "Copy that, Hawk," came the voice from Earth Command. "Continue standard patrol. Return to base in 2 hours." Sarah smiled. 2 more hours of peace and quiet. She loved flying alone out here. It gave her time to think. At 28 years old, she was already Earth's top fighter pilot. She had won every competition, broken every record, and earned more medals than she could count. But out here, none of that mattered. Out here, she was just another human looking at the stars. Her ship's computer made a soft beeping sound. Sarah looked at her control panel. A new signal was coming through her communication system. That was strange. No other human ships were supposed to be in this area. "Computer, analyze signal," she said. "Signal source unknown," the computer replied in its calm voice. "Language pattern not recognized. Signal strength very weak." Sarah frowned. She turned up the volume and listened carefully. Through the static and noise, she could hear voices. They sounded scared. Very scared. "Mayday! Mayday!" came a voice through the speakers. The words were broken and hard to understand. "Ship. Failing. Crew. Dying. Anyone. Please help." Sarah's heart started beating faster. Someone was in trouble. Real trouble. She checked her navigation computer. The signal was coming from a part of space that humans had never explored. It was marked as unknown on all the star maps. "Computer, can you clean up this signal?" she asked. "Working," the computer said. After a few seconds, the voices became clearer. Sarah could hear the fear and pain in them, even though she couldn't understand the language. "Please, anyone. We are dying. Help us." Sarah made a quick decision. She opened a channel to Earth Command. "Control, this is Hawk. I'm picking up a distress signal from unknown source, requesting permission to investigate." There was a long pause before Control replied. "Hawk, what is your exact location?" Sarah gave them her coordinates. Another long pause. "Hawk, that signal is coming from outside human space. We have no information about that sector. You are ordered to return to base immediately. We will send a full diplomatic team to investigate." "Control, these people sound like they're dying right now," Sarah said. "A diplomatic team will take days to organize. They might not have days." "Hawk, you have your orders. Return to base now." Sarah looked at her control panel. The distress signal was getting weaker. Whatever was happening to those people, it was getting worse. She thought about the regulations, about following orders, about doing what she was supposed to do. Then she thought about the fear in those voices. "Control, I'm experiencing some navigation problems," she said slowly. "My computer seems to be having trouble with the return coordinates." "Hawk, what is your status?" "It's strange, Control. My navigation system seems to be pulling me toward that distress signal. Must be some kind of malfunction. I'll try to fix it, but it might take a while." There was a long silence from Control. Sarah knew they understood what she was really saying. She was going to help those people, orders or no orders. "Hawk," came the voice from Control. "Be careful out there," Sarah smiled. "Copy that, Control. I'll contact you as soon as I know more." She turned off the communication system and looked at the star map. The signal was coming from a solar system about 2 hours away at maximum speed. She had never been to that part of space before. No human had. "Computer, plot course to signal source," she ordered. "Warning," the computer said. "Destination is outside known space." No safety information available. Plot the course anyway. Course plotted. Ready for hyperspace jump. Sarah took a deep breath. She was about to break every rule in the book. She was leaving human space without permission, going to help people she had never met, from a species she knew nothing about. For all she knew, this could be a trap. Pirates sometimes used fake distress signals to lure ships into ambushes. But she had listened to those voices. She had heard the fear and desperation. Those weren't the voices of people planning a trap. Those were the voices of people who were going to die if no one helped them. Execute jump, she said. The stars outside her window stretched into long lines of light as her ship entered hyperspace. Sarah felt the familiar pull of acceleration as the lightning strike shot through space faster than light itself. During the 2-hour journey, Sarah tried to learn more about the signal. Her computer worked to translate the alien language. Slowly, more words became clear. Ship, broken, star, pulling us, engines dead, crew scared, children aboard. Children! Sarah's hands tightened on her controls. There were children on that ship, whatever it was. She pushed her engines harder, trying to shave minutes off her travel time. As her ship prepared to drop out of hyperspace, Sarah ran through her equipment checks. Her fighter was built for combat, not rescue operations. She had weapons, shields, and speed, but no medical supplies, no extra life support, and no way to carry passengers. She would have to figure out how to save these people with whatever she had. Dropping out of hyperspace in 10 seconds, her computer announced. Sarah's heart pounded as she prepared to see what waited for her in unknown space. She was about to make first contact with an alien species. She was about to discover if humans were truly alone in the universe. And she was about to find out if one person in one small ship could make a difference when everything seemed hopeless. Here we go, she whispered to herself as the stars returned to normal, and she saw what lay ahead. Sarah's ship dropped out of hyperspace, and what she saw made her gasp. In front of her was the most beautiful and terrifying sight she had ever witnessed. A massive alien spacecraft floated in space, but it was clearly in serious trouble. The ship was unlike anything Sarah had ever seen or imagined. It looked like someone had grown it rather than built it. Smooth, curved surfaces flowed into each other like water. Parts of it seemed to be made of crystal that caught and reflected light in amazing patterns. Other sections looked like living metal that moved slowly, as if it was breathing. But the ship's beauty was being destroyed. It was caught in the pull of a dying star, and that star was tearing the vessel apart piece by piece. Sarah had learned about dying stars in pilot training. When a star runs out of fuel, it becomes unstable. It pulls everything nearby toward it with incredible force. The gravity is so strong that it can stretch and break apart anything that gets too close. The alien ship was trapped in this deadly dance. Sarah could see pieces of it being pulled away, chunks of metal and crystal spinning off into the star's angry red glow. Her scanner showed debris fields all around, evidence that the ship had been fighting this losing battle for a long time. Computer, scan the vessel, Sarah ordered, trying to keep her voice steady. Scanning complete, her computer replied. Ship length, approximately 2 kilometers. Unknown construction materials. Energy readings failing rapidly. Life signs detected. 217 beings, species unknown. 217 people were about to die, and Sarah was the only one who could help them. She tried to contact the alien ship. Unknown vessel, this is Commander Sarah Chen of Earth. I received your distress signal. Do you copy? Static filled her speakers for several long seconds. Then a voice came through, speaking words she didn't understand. Computer, activate universal. Translator, Sarah said. Translator active. Warning, this language is not in database. Translation will be limited. The alien voice came through again, and this time Sarah could understand some of it. Impossible. How can... You real? Please. Need help? Ship dying. I'm real, and I'm here to help, Sarah said clearly. What is your situation? There was excitement in the alien voice now. You understand. Miracle. I am Navigator Sci-Fi of research vessel Gentle Current. Our engines failed, caught by dying star, cannot escape. How long do you have? Sarah asked, though she was afraid of the answer. Star becoming more unstable. Maybe 3 hours, maybe less. Then we cross point of no return. After that, nothing can save us. Sarah studied her scanner readings. The alien ship was indeed being pulled slowly toward the star. The gravitational forces were getting stronger every minute. Soon, even if she could somehow fix their engines, they would be too close to escape. Sci-Fi, what happened to your engines? She asked. We came to study dying star, safe distance. But star had unexpected explosion, our engines damaged, escape pods destroyed. We trapped. Sarah's heart sank. No escape pods meant she couldn't evacuate the crew a few at a time. Her fighter could maybe carry 5 people at most, and only for a short trip. There were more than 200 beings on that ship. Sci-Fi, I need to ask you something important. Have your people ever seen humans before? Humans? That is what you call yourselves? No, we thought we were alone. Your species not in our records. Where do you come from? A place called Earth. We're probably neighbors, cosmically speaking. Sarah managed a small smile despite the situation. Sci-Fi, I'm going to try to help you, but I need to understand your ship better. Can you show me your engine design? Data began flowing to Sarah's computer. As she studied it, she realized the alien technology was far more advanced than anything humans had built. Their engines used principles that human scientists had only theorized about. But advanced or not, they were completely dead. Computer, analyze alien engine data. Can we repair them? Negative. Damage is too extensive. Estimated repair time, 47 hours. Available time, less than 3 hours. Sarah felt frustration building. Her fighter was fast and maneuverable, but it was designed for combat, not rescue operations. She couldn't tow something as massive as the alien ship. She couldn't repair their engines in time. She couldn't evacuate over 200 people. Sci-Fi, she said, I need to know more about your people. In an emergency, how do you make decisions? We are collective thinkers, came the reply. In crisis, our minds join together. We become as one, thinking same thoughts, making best logical choice. That's interesting, Sarah said. She had never heard of anything like that. Humans were the opposite. In a crisis, they often acted as individuals, sometimes making crazy, illogical choices that somehow worked out. As Sarah circled the dying ship, studying it from every angle, she noticed something else troubling. The star was not just pulling the ship in, it was also sending out bursts of deadly radiation. The alien ship's shields were failing, which meant the crew was slowly being poisoned by the star's angry energy. Sci-Fi, your radiation shields are failing, she reported. We know. Some crew already becoming sick. Children are most vulnerable. Children again. Sarah's jaw tightened with determination. She flew closer to the alien vessel, marveling at its construction, even as she watched it being torn apart. Up close, she could see that some sections were already gone. The ship was like a wounded animal, bleeding metal and crystal into space. Computer, analyze the gravitational forces around the alien ship. Is there any way to break them free? Analysis complete. Gravitational pull is too strong for conventional escape. Only possibility would be to use gravity itself, like a slingshot. Effect. But this would require precise timing and positioning. Margin for error, 0. Sarah stared at the readings. A gravity slingshot. It was theoretically possible, but incredibly dangerous. One mistake and both ships would be pulled into the star. Sci-Fi, she said slowly. I might have an idea. But it's going to sound crazy. Please, Commander Chen, we will listen to any idea. We have, what is your expression? Nothing to lose. Exactly, Sarah said, looking at the dying star and forming a plan that would either save everyone or kill them all. But first, I need to know. How much do your people trust humans they've never met? The answer to that question, Sarah knew, would determine whether her impossible plan could work. Trust is not something we give easily, Sci-Fi replied after a long pause. But you came when we called for help. You came alone from unknown space to save people you never met. This tells us much about humans. Sarah took a deep breath. Good, because what I'm about to suggest is going to sound completely insane. She pulled up her tactical display and began running calculations. The numbers looked impossible, but sometimes impossible was exactly what humans did best. Sci-Fi, I want to use my weapons to create a series of explosions around your ship. These explosions will push your ship in a very specific pattern. If I time it exactly right, we can use the star's own gravity to throw you away from it, like a slingshot. Silence filled the communication channel for several seconds. Commander Chen, Sci-Fi finally said, did you just suggest shooting at our ship? Not at your ship. Around it. The explosions will create pressure waves in space. Combined with the gravitational forces, this should change your trajectory just enough to break you free. This is. Sci-Fi paused, and Sarah could hear other alien voices in the background, all talking at once. Commander, our collective analysis says this plan has a 97.3% chance of failure. The remaining 2.7% would likely result in our complete destruction. What does your analysis say about doing nothing? Sarah asked. Another pause. 100% chance of death. Then we're already improving your odds, Sarah said with grim humor. Look, I know it sounds crazy, but humans are good at crazy. It's kind of our specialty. She could hear intense discussion on the alien ship. Their voices rose and fell in patterns that reminded her of ocean waves. Finally, Sci-Fi spoke again. Commander Chen, we have never encountered thinking like yours. When we face a problem, we analyze all possibilities and choose the most logical solution. But you choose solutions that should not work. Sometimes the logical solution isn't available, Sarah said. Sometimes you have to try something that seems impossible because it's the only option left. This is very difficult for us to understand. Our minds work together. We think as one. Individual crazy ideas are filtered out. Sarah nodded, understanding something important. That's exactly why this might work. You think collectively, which makes you incredibly smart and efficient. But I think individually, which makes me unpredictable. Right now, unpredictable is what we need. She began uploading her ship's navigation data to the alien vessel. Sci-Fi, I'm going to need your computer systems to help with the calculations. My ship's AI is good, but this is going to require more processing power than I have. You want to link our systems? Sci-Fi sounded surprised. But our technologies are completely different. Are they? Sarah was already studying the alien computer data. Your systems use quantum processing, right? So do ours, just in a different way. Computer, can you interface with their navigation system? Analyzing alien computer architecture, her AI responded. Compatibility is possible, but will require significant adaptation from both systems. Do it, Sarah ordered. What happened next was something neither species had ever experienced. As the two computer systems began to merge, they created something new, a hybrid intelligence that combined human intuition with alien logic. This is remarkable, Sci-Fi said, wonder in his voice. I can feel your ship's thinking patterns. They are so different from ours. Where we see mathematical certainties, you see. Possibilities? That's right, Sarah said, watching data flow between the ships. We don't just calculate what should happen. We imagine what could happen. The merged computer system began running simulations of Sarah's slingshot plan. With alien processing power backing up human creativity, the success chances started climbing. 15%, 23%, 31%. "It's working," Sarah said excitedly. "Your computers are finding ways to make my crazy plan actually possible." 42% success probability, HFY reported. Still very dangerous, but no longer impossible. Sarah began positioning her fighter for the first phase of the plan. She would have to fire her weapons at precisely calculated points around the alien ship. Each explosion had to happen at exactly the right time and place. One mistake would send the ship spinning into the star instead of away from it. "HFY, I need your crew to be ready. When I start the sequence, your ship is going to shake very badly. Make sure everyone is secured." "Understood. Commander Chen. May I ask why you are doing this? You could leave now. Your ship is fast enough to escape. Why risk your life for strangers?" Sarah thought about the question as she fine-tuned her targeting systems. "Because that's what humans do. When someone calls for help, we answer. Even if it's dangerous, even if it seems impossible, we can't help ourselves. It's just who we are." "Your species sounds very reckless," Sarah laughed. "We prefer the term heroically stubborn." She was just about to begin the rescue sequence when her proximity alarm started screaming. Sarah looked at her scanner and felt her heart stop. The dying star was changing. The red glow was becoming brighter, more intense. Energy readings were spiking rapidly. "Computer, what's happening to the star?" "Star is entering final collapse phase earlier than predicted. Solar flare activity increasing dramatically. Gravitational forces intensifying. How much time do we have now?" "At current rate of stellar degradation, approximately 15 minutes before point of no return." Sarah stared at the readings. 15 minutes. Her plan had been designed around having at least an hour to execute carefully. Now she would have to do everything much faster, with much less room for error. "HFY, we have a problem," she said, her voice calm despite the terror she felt inside. "We see it, the star. It's dying faster than our predictions showed." Sarah looked at her tactical display. The merged computer system was frantically recalculating, trying to compress the entire rescue sequence into the time they had left. The success probability was dropping rapidly. 31%, 24%, 18%. "Commander," HFY said quietly, "perhaps you should leave now. Save yourself. There is no shame in—" "No," Sarah interrupted firmly. "We're not giving up. We're just changing the plan." She began entering new commands into her targeting system. If they couldn't be careful, they would have to be bold. If they couldn't be precise, they would have to be lucky. "Hang on, everyone," Sarah said as she prepared to attempt the impossible in record time. "This is about to get very interesting." The dying star pulsed with increasing fury, as if it knew someone was trying to escape its grasp. Sarah's hands moved across her controls with practiced speed. 15 minutes to save over 200 lives, no pressure at all. "Beginning sequence in 10 seconds, she announced, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. The dying star was now pulsing with angry red light, sending waves of radiation that made her ship's hull creak and groan. "All crew secured," HFY reported from the alien vessel. "We are ready, Commander Chen." "Here we go," Sarah whispered. She fired her first weapon burst at a precise point 30 meters from the alien ship's hull. The explosion created a brilliant flash and a pressure wave that pushed against the massive vessel. The ship shuddered but began to move slightly. "First mark successful," Sarah called out, already lining up her second shot. "Adjusting for gravitational drift." The merged computer system was feeding her constant updates. The alien ship was responding exactly as predicted, but the star's increasing gravity was making every calculation more difficult. Sarah fired again and again. Each explosion had to be perfectly placed, perfectly timed, too close and she would damage the alien hull, too far and the pressure waves wouldn't be strong enough to move the massive ship. Incredible, Sci-Fi said, his voice filled with amazement. You are making calculations faster than our computers can verify them. How is this possible? I'm not calculating, Sarah replied, firing another burst. I'm feeling it. It was true. Somewhere during her years of flight training, Sarah had developed an intuitive sense for movement in 3 dimensions. She could feel the gravitational flows, sense the ship's momentum, predict where the next explosion needed to happen without running the numbers. You are flying by instinct, Sci-Fi said, wonder in his voice. This is impossible. Physics does not work by feelings. Human physics does, Sarah said with a grim smile. She was halfway through the sequence when her ship's warning alarm started. Screaming. A massive solar flare erupted from the dying star, sending a wall of energy racing toward them. Shield overload imminent, her computer warned. Recommend immediate retreat. Not happening, Sarah said, firing another burst. The flare hit her ship like a giant hammer. Her shields flashed and failed. Emergency power kicked in, but half her systems went offline. Commander Chen, your ship is damaged, Sci-Fi called out. You must retreat. Can't stop now, Sarah said through gritted teeth. Her targeting system was flickering. Her navigation display was full of static, but she could still see the alien ship, still feel where the next explosion needed to happen. She fired again, this time using manual aim. The burst was slightly off target, but the alien ship continued its slow turn away from the star. Amazing, Sci-Fi breathed. You are still hitting your marks without your targeting computer. Human pilots train for this, Sarah said, sweat dripping down her face as she fought to control her damaged ship. We practice until we can fly blind if we have to. Another solar flare erupted. This one was even stronger. Sarah's ship shook, so violently that she thought it might break apart. More systems failed. Her engines were running on backup power. Her life support was showing yellow warnings, but she kept firing. 5% through sequence, the merged computer system reported. Alien vessel trajectory improving. Success probability now 67%. We're going to make it, Sarah said, allowing herself a moment of hope. That's when everything went wrong. A massive gravitational wave from the collapsing star hit both ships. Sarah's fighter was thrown sideways like a toy. The alien vessel, much larger and harder to move, was pulled back toward the star. All progress lost, Sci-Fi reported, despair in his voice. We are back where we started. Sarah looked at her instruments. Half were dead. The other half were showing readings that made her heart sink. Her ship was badly damaged. The alien vessel was once again being pulled towards certain death, and they had less than 5 minutes left. Any reasonable person would give up. Any logical mind would accept defeat. Sarah was neither reasonable nor logical. Computer, emergency protocol. Transfer all remaining power to weapon systems. Warning. This will disable life support and engines. Ship will be unable to retreat. Do it! Sarah, no! Sci-Fi called out. You cannot sacrifice yourself for us. I'm not sacrificing myself, Sarah said, even though they both knew she probably was. I'm finishing the job. With her engines dead, Sarah used the ship's attitude thrusters to position herself for the final sequence. She had maybe 30 seconds of weapons power left, enough for 3, maybe 4 shots. It would have to be enough. She fired the first shot perfectly. The alien ship began to move again. Second shot. The vessel's trajectory improved. Third shot. The ship was almost at the escape angle. Sarah lined up for the final shot, the one that would either save everyone or fail completely. Her power levels were at 2%. Her ship was falling apart around her, but her hands were steady. She fired. The explosion was perfect. The alien ship shot away from the dying star like a stone from a slingshot, finally escaping the gravity. Well, that had trapped it. Success! Sci-Fi shouted. We are free! We are— His celebration was cut short as Sarah's ship, powerless and battered, was caught by the same gravitational forces that had been pulling the alien vessel. "Commander Chen!" Sci-Fi called out in alarm. Sarah felt her ship being pulled toward the star. With no engines and no power, she couldn't escape. She had saved the alien crew, but doomed herself in the process. Then she felt something grab her ship. The alien vessel had extended some kind of energy field, catching Sarah's fighter just before it crossed the point of no return. "Got you," Sci-Fi said with obvious relief. "No one gets left behind." Both ships, locked together by the alien tractor field, limped away from the dying star. They were safe, but barely. Sarah's fighter was too damaged to make the journey home. The alien ship, while functional, was far from both their home worlds. "Well," Sarah said, looking at her dead instruments, "we're alive? That's something." "Yes," Sci-Fi agreed. "But, Commander, we are receiving new signals, multiple ships approaching our position." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. "Friendly ships?" "Unknown. But they are moving very fast, and there are many of them." Sarah stared out at the stars, wondering if they had escaped one danger only to face another. Sarah watched her scanner as the unknown ships approached. Even with her damaged systems, she could count at least 12 vessels moving toward them at high speed. "Sci-Fi, can you identify those ships?" she asked. "Scanning now," came the reply. After a moment, Sci-Fi's voice returned, filled with both relief and fear. "Some are your people, Commander, human ships, but others are Korthan." "Korthan?" "Predator species. They hunt other races for sport and resources. They were tracking us when our engines failed. We thought the dying star would hide us from them." Sarah felt her stomach drop. The alien research vessel had been running from hunters when they got trapped by the star, and now those hunters had found them again, just as human rescue ships arrived. "This is Admiral Rodriguez of the Earth Defense Fleet," came a new voice, over Sarah's communication system. "Commander Chen, you are in violation of direct orders and have caused a major diplomatic incident." "Admiral, I can explain," Sarah began. "Later, Commander. Right now we have bigger problems." A different voice cut through the communications, speaking in harsh, growling tones that made Sarah's skin crawl. "Human ships, you will withdraw immediately. The research vessel belongs to the Korthan hegemony by right of hunt. Leave now or face destruction." Admiral Rodriguez's reply was calm and cold. "This is Admiral Rodriguez of Earth Defense Fleet. You are now in human protected space. The research vessel is under our protection. You will withdraw immediately." Sarah almost laughed despite the danger. Human protected space? They were nowhere near Earth territory, but the Admiral had said it with such confidence that even she almost believed it. "Impossible," the Korthan commander snarled. "Your species is unknown to us. You have no territory here." "You're about to learn differently," Rodriguez replied. Sarah watched as the human ships moved into formation. There were only 5 Earth vessels against 12 Korthan ships, but the humans moved with a coordination that looked almost like magic. Each ship operated independently while maintaining perfect formation, something that confused the alien hunters. "Sci-Fi," Sarah whispered, "tell me about the Korthan. How do they fight?" "They are hive-minded hunters," Sci-Fi replied quietly. "All ships controlled by single consciousness. Very efficient, very predictable. They rely on superior numbers and firepower." Sarah smiled grimly. Predictable was exactly what humans were good at defeating. "Admiral Rodriguez," she said over the fleet channel, "the Korthan are hive-minded. They can't adapt to individual tactics." "Understood, Commander. All ships execute Pattern 7. Sarah watched in amazement as the human fleet suddenly broke formation and scattered in 5 different directions. Each ship began moving in completely different patterns, some spinning, some diving, some moving in zigzag lines that made no sense. The Corthan ships hesitated, clearly confused. Their hive mind couldn't process 5 different tactical approaches happening at the same time. "What are they doing?" the Corthan commander demanded. "This makes no tactical sense." "That's the point," Admiral Rodriguez replied cheerfully. "We don't make sense. It's our specialty." The human ships continued their chaotic dance around the confused Corthan fleet. To Sarah, it looked like a group of dolphins playing with sharks. The Corthan had superior firepower, but they couldn't target enemies that moved so unpredictably. "Sci-Fi," Sarah said, "can you share tactical data about Corthan weaknesses with the human fleet?" "Already doing so," Sci-Fi replied. "Your Admiral Rodriguez requested all information about their ships and tactics. The information flow was immediate. Within seconds, the human ships adjusted their movements to target specific weak points on the Corthan vessels, but they still didn't fire. "Corthan Commander," Admiral Rodriguez called out, "you have one chance to withdraw peacefully. Leave now, and this incident is forgotten." "We do not retreat from unknown species," the alien hunter roared. "Unknown?" Rodriguez sounded genuinely surprised. "Haven't you been paying attention? We're humans. We answer distress calls. We protect people who can't protect themselves, and we really don't like bullies." Sarah watched as the human ships moved closer to the Corthan fleet. The aliens were getting nervous. Their formations were becoming tighter, more defensive. "This is impossible," the Corthan commander muttered. 5 ships cannot threaten 12. "Your tactics make no sense." "You're right," Rodriguez agreed. "They don't make sense. That's why they work." Suddenly, all 5 human ships stopped their chaotic movements and lined up in perfect formation, all weapons trained on the Corthan flagship. "Here's what's going to happen," Rodriguez said calmly. "You're going to leave. You're going to forget. You ever saw this research vessel, and you're going to spread the word that humans protect those who call for help. And if we refuse, then you'll learn why humans are the species that other species call when they're in trouble." There was a long silence. Sarah could almost feel the Corthan commander thinking, trying to process what had just happened. His hive mind had never encountered anything like human tactics. This is not over," the alien finally said. "Yes, it is," Rodriguez replied, simply. The Corthan ships slowly turned and jumped to hyperspace, defeated without a single shot being fired. Sarah let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. "Admiral, how did you know they would back down?" "Bullies always back down when they meet someone who won't be intimidated," Rodriguez replied. "The Corthan are used to hunting frightened prey. They don't know how to handle people who fight back." "Commander Chen," Sci-Fi said, "what just happened here will change everything. Word will spread throughout the galaxy about humans who came to help strangers, about the species that fights for others." A few hours later, both the human and alien ships were working together to repair the damage from their ordeal. Sarah found herself in the middle of humanity's first interstellar alliance negotiation. "We wish formal alliance with humans," Sci-Fi explained through the translation systems. "Technology sharing, mutual defense, cultural exchange." "We'd be honored," Admiral Rodriguez replied. "Commander Chen will be our official representative." "Me?" Sarah said, surprised. "You started this, Commander. You might as well finish it." 6 months later, Sarah stood in the briefing room of the new Human Veltar Joint Training Academy. She was teaching a class of mixed human and alien pilots, combining human intuition with Veltar computational power. "Remember," she told her, "students, flying isn't just about following protocols. Sometimes you have to trust your instincts even when they tell you to do something impossible." A young Veltar pilot raised his hand. "But, Commander, what if the impossible thing doesn't work?" Sarah smiled, thinking of dying stars and desperate distress calls. "Then you try a different impossible thing. That's what humans do." Her communication system beeped with an incoming message, another distress signal from unknown space, another species in trouble. Sarah looked at her mixed class of human and alien pilots. Class dismissed. I have a call to answer. As she walked toward her ship, Sarah reflected on how much had changed. Humans were no longer alone in the universe. They had allies, friends, and a reputation as the species that always answered when someone called for help. It was, she thought, exactly the kind of reputation worth having. Her ship powered up, ready for another impossible rescue. After all, that's what humans did.